Good morning and welcome to Tricks of the Trade. I'm John Allen here with Jimmy Duke, and we got all kinds of things to talk about today, so get yourself a cup of coffee and sit down and participate with us.
Yeah, I'll need a cup of coffee and a pair of sunglasses if you don't mind.
I believe so.
It is
yeah.
clear out there this morning, and it's coming through the southeast window right in my face. But that's okay. It'll go away.
Oh, that's what that glow is about you this
Yes,
morning.
I have that happy glow. I'll have a sunburn before it's over with.
Boy.
No, it'll be gone out of that window in a minute and gone to another window. So yeah, we'll have a good time today, and we want to talk to you by phone if you would like. The Old Town Spaghetti Store hotline 423-8101 with a 731 out front, of course, and then the Man's Wrecker Service text lines. There are two choices for you there. 731-410-7560 or 731-277-5155. Either one of those will get you into the box in the text lineup, and I'd love to have you there. Also, you can find us on 101.5 News Talk Facebook page today. Check that out. You can watch the sausage being made as we do the show this morning, and it'll be on Yall.com a little bit later in the afternoon. Talking to John Rawl. John's our audio-visual guy that makes that happen for us, and we appreciate all that he does for us on an early Saturday morning each week. But I want to remind you also, John told us before the show started that he has an interview with Bill Dance that he did this week up on Yall.com. So while you're over there perusing Tricks of the Trade, don't forget to check out the up-to-date interview with Bill Dance. And John, we appreciate what you do for us every week. So where shall we start today? We should put on a jacket if we're going outside, right?
Lord, isn't that the truth? It's cold out there.
It is.
I don't wear hats very often, but I've had to wear one this week because my bald head gets cold.
Get frost on the pumpkin.
Man, it's been rough out there.
Yeah.
Your hands, and I work with my hands a lot,
Right.
and these wires and these electric boxes, and having gloves on, it just sometimes a few sparks fly because you get your things in the wrong spot.
Well, you can't feel it. I don't like to drive with gloves. I don't like to wear gloves. I keep a pair in the car, at this time of the year just in case, and I keep a heavier jacket. But no, I'm not a glove wearer, and I've never been a hat wearer.
Well, I like these. Of all the new gadgets I like on cars when you get them, this heated steering wheel, I really like that.
Yeah, we have on both of our vehicles. It's not something I probably would sit down and order, but I sure do like it.
Yeah, but even the heat in my steering wheel can't keep up with it. It's cold on my steering wheel. I've been putting up people's Christmas presents this week. I don't mean putting them up in the attic.
Okay, I got you.
I mean like
things people have gotten for Christmas. You are attaching them in the right places.
Okay, yeah. I didn't
go.
verbalize myself in the right appropriate manner because my tongue is cold this morning.
It's froze to the lamppost.
I get tickled at people sometimes because, in this particular case, it's ceiling fans.
Yeah.
They get these ceiling fans for Christmas, and I don't know where they get their instructions, but anywhere but the box. They're not looking at the box on putting these things up, and they'll put up ceiling fans where light fixtures were, and then they'll have to call me later on because the ceiling fan is hanging by the wires where it's falling out of the ceiling. So I thought I might start the show off today giving a few little tips on things to do and what not to do as far as putting up your fans. Number one, if your house was built back in the 60s up to the present, chances are you've got a plastic ceiling box in your ceiling.
Okay.
And that ceiling box has got two little nails in it that drives that box to the side of the ceiling joist to hold up a light fixture that probably doesn't weigh a pound.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's all you need. But when you get one of these 30, 40-pound fans up there on it, and it gets to wiggling, next thing you know, it's going to fall out of the ceiling. So And then even if you've got one that is the appropriate type box, you've got to use the appropriate type screws to hold the fan up there. So here's what I tell folks to do. And this is after they messed up and they didn't do it. If you've got a plastic box up in the ceiling, there's two things you need to do. Number one is go up in the attic and take you a 2x4 and put it across the top of the box. Nail that board to each side of your joist, and then go inside and screw through the bottom of your plastic electric box up into that piece of wood. That's to stabilize it and hold it better than what those nails did.
Right.
Then go and get the right kind of machine thread screws, which on a ceiling box, it's normally an 8/32 screw, which has got a machine thread on it. Don't go and get a drywall screw, which is what most of them do. I don't know how this happened, but drywall screws have become the cure-all for everything. It's the Campo Finique of fastening things.
That takes me back.
Yeah. Drywall screws are great for putting up drywall and drywall only.
That's why they call them that.
Yeah, okay. But they have no tensile strength. In other words, they snap off, they break.
Right.
They're not good for holding things other than sheetrock. So get you the appropriate screw to where you can screw the bracket that holds the fan up to your box and have it properly attached. Now, if you will do that, things are going to hold up pretty good. But if you don't get those things properly anchored up there, the boxes are going to fall out of the ceiling. And in many cases, when I said if your house is, say, from the 60s forward, if it's older than that, you probably don't even have a box up there. You've just got a wire or two sticking through the plaster. And nail it, and screwing one up to the lathe on that plaster is a big no-no too. You need to put a box up there to support it. They actually make ceiling fan boxes, but a ceiling fan box is meant to straddle a ceiling joist. Mm-hmm. And very seldom you're going to find that hole where your fan is next to a joist. So they make metal boxes with expandable sides to where they will go over and tie to your ceiling joist. So get all that properly anchored, and if you do that, you won't need me. You won't have to call somebody when it falls out of the ceiling. Also, getting it properly secured and get it to where that box won't move keeps that fan from wiggling. And it won't stop it when the blades get out of line, or if Junior's throwing his basketball up there and it hits the blades and bends one of the arms.
Wappy-jawed, yeah.
Yeah, wappy-jawed's a good term we use down here. So anyway, just if you've got those ceiling fans and you want to get them put up properly, that getting them stable and getting them properly anchored is the best thing to do. So give that a try.
Now, we talk about from time to time, and that would be, while we're talking about ceiling fans, there is a switch on the outside of that little ceiling fan.
That's right.
And that is there for a reason, to reverse the flow of the air. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know that.
No, they don't. And then they get to thinking about it, and they don't realize they can really help heat a room and keep your air stirring if you'll utilize those switch. That switch, when you have a fan, you always think about something, a breeze blowing on you.
Yeah, blowing down on you.
And it blows down on you. But if it's like 12 degrees outside, like it is right now, you don't want a fan blowing on you.
Right.
So if you flip that switch, it blows the air up, and then it comes back down around your walls. And you still get the benefits of keeping the air conditioned, because all your hot air is up against the ceiling, and you will blow it down where you need it to help minimize your utility bill, especially if you've got high ceilings.
Right.
So when you go to flip that switch, though, do it when the fan is off. The blades are not moving.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to blow your switch up. You need to have the fan perfectly still, mm-hmm. and then you flip the switch, and then you turn it on, and it'll be fine. Do that in the wintertime to where the fan is blowing up. In the summertime, you flip it the other way, and the fan is blowing down.
Right.
and everybody will be happy.
There you go. There you go. Just that one of those little tips that makes life a little better.
Give you one more tip on a ceiling fan for
Yeah.
those of you that have vaulted ceilings. You can't mount a ceiling fan on a vaulted ceiling unless you have a vaulted kit to allow that fan to hang straight up and down where your ceiling might be running at an angle.
Yeah.
So you have to get a kit. Otherwise, you're going to just mess up a perfectly good fan, and it's going to fall out of the ceiling as well. And if you're going to have one that's going to have a down rod on it that hangs down, make sure you get a fan that has at least a 3/4 inch down rod. They still got some of them out there that are 1/2 inch, but if you put a fan hanging down from the ceiling about 4 foot or more and you've got a 1/2 inch down rod, it's going to just dance all over the ceiling. You need that 3/4 inch rod to kind of keep things stiff and to where when it's revolving, it's not swaying and moving around.
Yeah. I mean, if it's hanging from the ceiling, I want it secured properly because I don't want the thing in my lap.
That's right.
Besides that, the dog would get upset because that's where she is most of the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You're listening to Tricks of the Trade with John Allen on this Saturday morning. It is a cold one, but that's not affecting your ability to text if you would like to. Text line, the Man's Wrecker Service text line, 731-410-7560 and 731-277-5155, or the Old Town Spaghetti Store hotline, direct phone line to John Allen this morning, 731-423-8101. You know, John, as we start 2022, we are very proud to be able to bring over into the new year our three sponsors that were with us in 2021, and we appreciate what they do for us. Makes it possible for us to come and do this, or for you to come and do this every Saturday morning. And one of those has been around Jackson for about as long as I can remember in this business. Economy Siding and Windows.
Boy, it started out with Herman. You know, Herman England started out, and now Stormy's taken over, and they are just great people. That's all I can say. They're good, honest folks, and do a great job at what they do. And they are one of my exclusive subcontractors in my construction business. And you know, they can kind of do it all, whether it's siding, putting in windows, trimming out your eaves, anything that will make the outside of your house maintenance free. That's a company to do. They put up great gutters, gutter guards, get any kind of color that you want, if you can find it, that is. We've got a little shortage going on with things right now.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, it's just a good, dependable company that I would highly recommend and personally use, so I know all about them. And if they don't do right, call me. I'll fuss at them for you.
Absolutely. I've seen that happen. No,
Yes,
I haven't. No, I haven't. No.
It, you know, just we really appreciate Stormy and his crew and also sponsoring the show, and highly recommend those if you've got any outside things to be done on your home. To, you know, nobody likes to paint anymore. If you've got an old wooden siding that's all scaly and looks like an alligator's hide, and you're tired of scraping and painting and all that, you can put you some pretty siding on that. But like today is when you're going to appreciate the windows.
That's for sure.
Now
That's
today, and I'll talk about this a little later on in the show, how you can test a good window out on days like today. But, you know, if you can go up to you, walk across in front of your window right now, and it feels just like walking by the rest of your wall, you don't feel a draft, you got a good window.
Right.
Chances are you don't, unless you've had Stormy put one in your house.
Yeah, because your basic contractor grade window is not going to offer that.
Oh, no, and maybe you got some of these old windows that are single pane, or wooden windows that, what they used to call plain rail windows that you slide up and down, that you could throw a good cat through, the cracks around them, and they rattle when the wind blows and all. You know, and maybe you got some of those old ugly storm windows, and you can get rid of all that. Get rid of your storm windows, get rid of your other windows, and slide in a new vinyl premium window that's insulated glass, got high R values, and it helps you with the utility bill tremendously.
Absolutely. And they can do that for you. They can do patio covers. They can do gutters, if you don't have gutters on your house, or if you need to go away from those old rusted out galvanized gutters to aluminum, they can do that. They can even put a leaf guard cover on there to keep all those nasty leaves on the ground where they should be.
I like the patio covered, by the way. You know,
Yeah.
sitting out there in a chair, rocking back and forth, and having the rain hit the roof. You know,
yeah.
and that sounds good. Have you an adult beverage or a good Coca-Cola sitting out there? It's
Yep.
it's good.
Just let the world go by. I'm busy right now.
That's right.
You got it. Economy Siding and Windows, one of our three great sponsors, 422-3828 or economysiding.com. We're going to take our first break of the morning. We continue with Tricks of the Trade and John Allen.
Hey Tennessee, I'm Kix Brooks. You know, I've been blessed to tour this nation from sea to shining sea. And every time that bus rolls back across the state line, I'm reminded how good we have it here in our home state. Whether you like to hunt, fish, or watch wildlife, we got our Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency to thank for it. But before you follow that red dirt road to your favorite fishing hole or hunting spot, there's one thing you need: a license. Just visit GoOutdoorsTennessee.com and you can get your license in minutes.
We're going to be making the most classic bourbon cocktail known to man, the Mint Julep. Became the official cocktail of the Kentucky Derby in 1938. This cocktail is the Gold Rush. Today we'll be using bourbon instead.
Today we're gonna make an old-fashioned cocktail, one of the most classic bourbon cocktails there are, and it tastes good for breakfast. With the Kentucky Mule, we are going to swap out that vodka for Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Called the Boulevardier, and we beef up the bourbon because it's Kentucky, and that's what we do here. Now to do a modern twist. Sometimes it's hard to do a variation on a classic cocktail because a lot of them are so good. An obvious place to go from there for a variation is a bourbon shake.
So now we're gonna take that Kentucky Sour and put a very fun, modern edge on it. But if you are the adventurous type, it is a delicious drink. And that is what I call a bittersweet bourbon sour. Cheers.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed. We are a global force for good. Join the movement. Support causes that matter. Change lives. Change communities. Change the world. We can do more together than we can alone. Join in. Experience the joy of serving. Be part of the movement. Give back. Let's unite the world for good. We are Lions. You can be too. Visit weserve.org.
There.
Yeah.
I was trying to think that you said don't waste your money on it. Couldn't be done.
Not exactly, but maybe part of that's true.
Okay, well, I just noticed this year I heat with wood. Well, I turned on my central unit, and it's just a stale smell coming out.
Yeah.
Now, I can spray Lysol in my return just a little bit, and it goes away for a few days. But then it's back.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do?
Well, there's several different scenarios, so I'm going to kind of walk you down one trail here. They promote, now this is a personal opinion, so I guess I'm entitled to those every now and then.
Exactly.
To listen to some folks hawk air duct cleaning, they make you think you got to get it done every year. And
Okay.
And it's just not necessary to clean those ducts that often because they just don't get that dirty. And very seldom do you have things clinging to the walls of your ducts that will make them go bad and have a reason for them to be cleaned. However, there are times, number one is when you like have a fire and smoke is sucked into your central system and it will coat around the eggs of your ducts, and then you would need to have them cleaned or sealed. If you have got a main trunk line running under your house, keep in mind that trunk line more than likely has an insulation board on the inside of the metal trunk line.
Okay.
And if it's sitting on the ground, you might get, in some extreme cases, get groundwater in and make it smell musty if it's getting wet. In your case, if there's anything in there that is causing that odor, you might want to consider having those ducts sealed. There is a product, and it's called Fix-It. You actually, it's a liquid that you would put in a aerosol blower, and chances are you're not going to have one of these, but it makes a mist out of this, and you'll spray it into your return air, and it will go through your system and cling to the sides of your ductwork that will seal that musty smell in there if you've got that insulation board that has gotten wet or compromised in your main duct. Also, you have to put cheesecloth over the grates of your on your floor registers, because that stuff will come out of there and it might, get on your walls and other things else. And then after you're done, you'd want to check the coils in your air system to make sure they haven't been clogged.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, but this will eliminate odors. We use it an awful lot in fire restoration work, or where you have some lingering odors after water damage where water might have gotten into the ductwork. The only other option to remedying this is to replace them, and sometimes that may not be practical. So, I'm not a big fan of maintenance-wise cleaning ductwork just for them saying you will eliminate, allergies and all that stuff. That's what your filters are for. Putting a good filter in keeps those ducts from getting dirty and things accumulating in there. So there's just other ways of doing it. But when you mention you've got a little odor in yours from time to time, you might want to consider having those ducts sprayed and sealed out. And that product I just mentioned, Fix-It, is very good about lining the walls of that main trunk line, and that will eliminate that from happening again.
Well, I was just kind of curious because the main trunk, it's fastened to the, under the house. It's not on the ground, but it's fastened. And the outside of the duct is wrapped in insulation.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering if it's even got that. I know what you're talking about. It's kind of a burgundy-looking board on the inside of it.
That's right.
And usually, if it's on the top of it, it releases, falls down, and now you don't get any air.
Well, if it falls down, it will eliminate your airflow and could burn your motor up. Also, on some units, do you have a split unit or a package unit outside?
Package.
Okay. Sometimes on those units, if the unit is dirty and condensation water is getting trapped in there, it's blowing out into that ductwork, right where it joins on the outside, and you'll get a little odor from that as well.
I got you. I never thought of that.
You might want to clean, make sure your unit is cleaned out well, and you're not blowing condensate water in there. That happens a lot with people that have split units, and you've got the air handler inside the house, and it's in like a hall closet, and the water will start dripping down inside the ductwork. You'll get that musty, stagnant smell from that as well.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for calling in this morning.
Appreciate that, caller. That's how easy it is. 731-423-8101. Got a couple of texts popping up on the Man's Wrecker Service text line here. First one says, John, small amount of air makes cold water in the kitchen sputter. Anything to worry about?
That could be a number of things. In this cold weather right now, you may just almost have frozen up, and it's any ice that maybe have accumulated in your line shifting around that's restricting your airflow. You could have a little air in the line. Tankless water heaters will sputter sometimes as they are trying to catch up with what's going on. Might be time to change your filters. I know mine a couple of weeks ago started pulsating, and I knew that I had a little trash in my filter outside, so I had to go clean that out. And that's about it. Now, if you've got a little bit of trash in your faucet, that will sometimes cause them to sputter. And a lot of times when I hear that happening and I have to go check them out and I pull the stems out, I'll find little pieces of white plastic down in the base of that faucet. And that tells me that it's about time to change out the dip tube in your water heater. Delta faucets, for one, and this is not a fault of the faucet by any means, but they will catch a lot of things in your water lines that shouldn't be in your faucets. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, I changed out a valve on a monitor faucet, and when I opened it up, I looked in there and saw something that looked kind of funny. Got a pair of tweezers and pulled out a wad of, looked like white cardboard. And I asked the customer, I said, by the way, have you been running out of hot water here lately? He says, well, how'd you know that? And I says, well, I got a feeling you need a new dip tube. What's that? And I said, well, that's what mixes the cold water to the bottom of your water heater to mix with the hot water and pushes the hot water up. When the dip tube's gone, it just circulates at the top and you don't get the benefit of having all your hot water. He said, huh. So I pulled the dip tube out of his water heater. All I say I did, he really didn't have one. It was that pipe was supposed to have been about 4 foot long. It was about 3/4 of an inch.
Oh, Lordy. It's not circulating anything.
That wasn't circulating hardly anything. So we got that fixed because those dip tubes, when they do break down, they will clog up a faucet and they will kind of sputter a little bit. Normally happens on the hot water side. And so you can kind of test it if you've got a hot and cold faucet there and see which one's causing you a problem. So, okay. But that's pretty much it.
All right. Thank you, Texter. Let's go to the next one here. It says, good morning. The plastic sheathing in my crawl space is ripped and torn apart in sections. Should I replace all of it with new plastic? Also, I have a house without plastic. Should I install?
Well, let me say this. If you look under your house and you don't have a vapor barrier and it's completely dry, the urgency of putting one down is not that great. But if it's wet or damp, I do strongly recommend that you put one down, and I'm going to tell you why. Back in the day when houses set up on pilasters or just piers, the underside of your house could breathe. And if you got a little water under your house, rained real hard and it kind of run under there, it wasn't too much to worry about. But now when water runs under your house and it's sealed up under your house, that water's going to go somewhere. It's going to evaporate. Well, when it evaporates, it goes up and it hits your floor joists and it condensates and it provides a food for mold to grow. So you've got the evaporated water going up it's condensating on the joist. It becomes a food group. You add temperature to that, and you have a little bit of microbial growth, and all of a sudden it just explodes and it starts growing. Next thing you know, it compromises the integrity of your floor joist and your subfloor, and it rots. That's why vapor barriers are so important. So the one that you have that is split, you can patch it if you want. Now, you can simply lay another piece of plastic on top of the other plastic. It won't hurt anything. If it's just one tear or two, it probably would be easy just to lay another piece out. But if it's tore all over, it might be simpler just to lay another layer on top of it. You don't have to take the other one out. Unless it's really wet, if you've got ponding water, you might want to pull it out, force a little air under the house, and get it to dry out, and then cover it up. But if it's just damp, you can put another one right down on top of it, and you'll be okay.
Okay, there you go, Texter. Appreciate the call this morning. And you can do it also, 731-410-7560 or 277-5155. Either will get you through on the Man's Wrecker Service text lines with John Allen this morning. Driving around these days, I'm beginning to see a lot more residential metal roofs than I used to see.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the technology and the availability of colors now, where it used to be looked like an old tin roof was about all you could get. And one of our sponsors is I'm sure has a large hand in that swap over, because that's what they do.
That's right. They're good folks, so we're proud to have them as a sponsor. And product availability is a big thing right now.
Sure.
And shingles are going sky high, and if you could get them, there's becoming a shortage of those as well. But Quality Outdoor Products up in the sovereign nation of Three-Way up there has a good assortment to choose from. So if you want to go up there and look around, see what color you might want, if you want a new roof, they can provide it for you, along with all of the fasteners and matching color accessories that you might need, right. Whether it be screws or caps or copings or whatever. They're a good one-stop shop to go to.
True.
You want a metal building, put metal on your walls too, or build you a little shack out back to put your stuff in, they can handle every bit of that. So they're good folks to have. We're glad to have them as sponsors on the show.
If you think you can tackle putting on your own metal roof, they've even got the tools to help you do that.
That's right. And,
absolutely.
But I tell you, that's a cold job at 12 degrees outside.
I bet it is. It's a cold job at 20 degrees outside. And we ain't even got to that one so far today. We're talking about, of course, out at Three-Way Quality Outdoor Products. You can give them a call at 888-485-5372, or just stop by and see them out at Three-Way. They can give you the 50-cent tour of the availabilities that they have, be it roofing, be it metal buildings. That's what they're there for, and they do an outstanding job. Quality Outdoor Products, one of our 3 sponsors here on Tricks of the Trade. We got to take another quick commercial break, and we'll be back with more with John Allen.
Suits me. I don't need them things anyway.
It gives you time to take another sip before your coffee gets cold.
Oh, well. Hey, I'm gonna take you a little trip down memory lane and tell you something funny.
Okay, shoot.
All right. Now, when you were growing up, Jim,
Yes.
I'm sure at some time you had one of your first baths in the kitchen sink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I know going through some old pictures not too long ago, there was one in there. That was the obligatory picture back in those days, that and the naked baby on the bearskin rug.
There you go.
You got one of those, too.
Everybody's got one of those. And then, if, like me, I had brothers and sisters, and you would put them in the kitchen sink and wash them, because it just, a lot of trouble bending over that bathtub and them sliding everywhere. You kind of, it's a controlled environment in the kitchen
Right.
sink. One side of a double compartment stainless
Just
steel
right.
sink, you can wash anything.
Yep.
If you don't have a youngin' to wash, you put your dog in
That's
there.
right.
Everybody does that.
Yep.
All right. Now, we have a new problem.
Uh-oh.
And it happened this week. Kind of funny. Everybody does that, and I wouldn't hesitate to do it right now if I had. Well, I got one grandchild that's small enough to do that.
Still sink size, huh?
It's still sink size. The other ones wouldn't fit in the sink and probably get slapped in the meantime anyway. But anyway, but now I got a call the other day, and it was a young lady that was had panicking a little bit, but she seemed to be a little bit embarrassed. She says, "My sink's come apart."
Ew.
And I said, "Huh?" And she said, "Mr. John, can you just come out here? I don't really know what to do." So I go out there and I walk in, and she's kind of red-faced and laughing. She says, "I just never thought I'd experience this." They just moved into this house. They'd been there, well, 3 or 4 months. And I went over to the kitchen sink, and it wasn't there. It was sort of there, but it was like not where it was supposed to be. It had dropped down into the sink about a foot. And I said, "Mary, what'd you do?" And she says, "I don't know. I was just sitting here washing the puppy dog, and he twisted and it dropped, and I had water everywhere." And I got to looking, and here's the scenario. You know, back in the good old days, I'll just say it that way, you know, everybody's got a kitchen sink, and it's a self-rimming lip sink. You know, the sink sits on top of the counter, and you don't have to worry about them. But now we done got fancy with all our new modern houses, and everybody's got solid surface countertops and undermount sinks.
Yep.
Well, the sink goes under the countertop, as you see. Now, there's a reason the installers always tell you when you're putting one in, they will set your countertops and they'll mount your sink, and they'll say, "Now wait 24 hours before you hook up your plumbing." Well, the reason for that is under the bottom of that granite countertop or porch or whatever it is, there are 4 little brackets that they mount into the stone that hold the edges of that sink up against the bottom of that solid surface.
Right.
And then your sink is also pressed up into a bed of silicone that kind of keeps the water from coming over the edges and also adheres that sink to the bottom of the countertop.
Right.
Well, sometimes that silicone and those brackets, which it's kind of like putting a plastic anchor in a wall. Sometimes they strip out, and you have that happening, and they come loose. Well, in this case, she had a sink full of water, which is pretty heavy.
Yep.
And then she had her big old dog in the sink as well. And some people, this happened last year too, and this lady was washing her baby. And all that weight, all of a sudden, you hear this little crack and snap, and your sink falls down. That's a bad feeling to have.
Yes.
Especially with
Especially
your
with your
young'un
kids in it, yeah.
And water's running everywhere, and you kind of freeze for a minute. You don't know what to do first. Do you grab the sink, you grab the young'un, grab the dog, or you just know you got problems. So that is a little something you got to watch for. So you really got to watch those anchors, because nowadays your sink is not sitting on top of the countertop anymore like it used to. It's mounted underneath, and it's glued and screwed there, and those things do happen, and they do come loose.
That would be a little disconcerting. Have your
you know.
sink leave you in the middle.
And those things are heavy too.
Yeah, they are. Even the stainless steel ones have got a lot of weight to them.
Yeah, they do. And so all of a sudden you're just kind of hanging from the plumbing there. So see, your sink's not even attached to your faucet. Your faucets are mounted in the granite or the quartz top.
Yeah, that's true.
And the only thing holding that sink up when it drops is your drain pipes. And then most of the people have a disposal mounted in that, so you got the weight of the disposal on top of the weight of the water on top of the weight of the whatever you got in the sink. And that's a pretty heavy load you got right there.
You would have thought they might have figured that out before they went to that system.
Well,
Or there's no other way to do that. If you're going to have an undermount, you don't have more than.
well, you don't have them turned loose that often.
Yeah.
But when you don't get a good seal on the front end and that silicone, which normally has got some pretty good adhesive powers to it, but maybe you hooked the plumbing up a little too soon and it didn't cure or get stuck properly, or maybe you didn't use it at all, and all you've got is 4 little corner brackets, then you got a problem. So you kind of got to watch that out there. So if you start seeing a little crack under your sink where the top of your sink goes up to the bottom of your countertops,
Yeah.
and you start getting a little opening there, you better get it checked out. Otherwise, you may have your sink on the floor before it's over with.
This is true. Here's a text coming in on the Man's Record Service text line in this regard. It says the old farmhouse sinks had their own foundation and framing.
That's right. That's right. And there's a lot of farm sinks going in right now.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Has been for several years now. Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had some of those that back in the day, they were pretty affordable.
Yeah.
Now you get a good farm sink, it's not unusual to pay $1,500 or more for one of them. And,
That's because it's the thing.
oh, it's the thing. You're
Yeah.
paying for the thing.
Unfortunately, I know I do watch some of these Saturday morning fix-it shows, even though I couldn't fix it if I wanted to. But the last few years, it's been the hot thing. At least on one of the shows is the combination of the farm look and the industrial, the mix, where you got instead of cabinets in a small kitchen, you have hanging shelves made out of galvanized pipe that blend with the old farm look. I don't care for it much myself, but it's out there. Haven't seen that much of that around
good
here.
money.
Yeah.
People pay good money to look old.
To make it look tacky.
Yeah, make it look tacky.
Sorry.
That's a good way of putting it.
I didn't
That's
mean
right.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that. One thing you will not ever say about a fence from West 10 Fence Company is, man, that's a tacky looking fence.
That's true.
Because everything's going to line up.
Mm-hmm.
And the doors, doors and the gates are going to hang properly on their hinges. And even if you've got a little bit of a slope to your ground right there, they're going to fix it so it looks like that fence has been there forever. It blends into the landscape.
Well, yeah, some of these folks, you got Bubba and Jethro out there lining it up with a tree limb across the street. Your fence gets a little crooked and whoppy jawed and all that. They got levels. Ooh. And they could make that fence run absolutely straight up and down.
Yeah, and they've got the latest in PhDs, each and every one of them.
Yeah, I bet you they even sharpen them from time to time.
I bet they do too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very educated. Very educated.
Highly educated.
Highly educated. Depending on how deep you want your hole for your post hole
That's
digger.
exactly right. PhD, in this case being your basic post hole digger. We're talking about West End Fence Company. They are one of John's subcontractors, and they do all kinds of fencing, and you've probably had the occasion to have just about every kind of fence they make.
Actually, I believe I have.
Yeah.
From time to time. And if I didn't have them putting up a new one, they were repairing an old one.
Yep.
And they're just, all you got to do is pick up the phone, give them a call, and they'll come right out. They're local, and everybody is completely clothed and look professional.
Yep. We had a problem at my house that you're very familiar with because we've worked on it over the years out there. A double drive-through gate that is between my neighbor's house and mine, and for some reason, where we sit near a corner, I'm on the corner, he's next to me, and the wind would just howl down between our two houses. Mm-hmm. And it would wear that old gate out. Every time you'd have to run out there and it'd pull the stake out of the ground, it'd pull the hinges loose. Well, they came out and I told them what the problem was, and they said, I got a solution for that. So they rebuilt my double drive-through gate, rehung it, and Mother Nature has not puffed and huffed hard enough yet to blow that gate open. I am very, very happy with it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, they every time we have a truck run through a fence and what we're doing, they'll come right out and they'll fix it, make it look like that nothing ever happened. And whenever our gates don't work and our openers don't open, they'll come right out and take care of that as well. So they're good folks to have. So Give them a call. What's the line?
Absolutely.
What's the phone number there?
West End Fence Company, located at 2158 Hollywood Drive. It's 731-668-5959. Or if you'd like to talk to the sales department, that is Ricky Pennington, rpennington1, the number 1, at yahoo.com. That'll get you right where you need to be with West End Fence Company. All right, I got a text for you. This one looks like it could take some explaining. So we're going to hunker down here for just a minute.
All right.
Are you ready? I have a 1,400 square foot home. Main trunk was swelling and insulation on duct wet and hanging. And I'm not going to say the name of the company or the individual, but a vendor, heating and air company, completely replaced all the duct line, trunk line, and rebuilt the exchange box. Took out the old, put in the new for a certain amount of money. Well, $3,300, okay? Crawl space job. That's where it ends. So what caused that to happen in the first place? There's ducts getting wet.
They didn't. A roll of duct tape would have saved them $3,300.
Really?
You know, when you're putting your duct work together under your house and you're putting one piece of pipe on the other, they will screw it together. Now, what you're supposed to do at that point is take some duct tape. That's why they call it duct tape.
Made for ducts.
You run the tape around your duct to tape that joint. The reason that is so important is, remember, when you got air conditioning, and you got like 55-degree air running through that pipe, it will, instead of it all coming up into your home like it's supposed to, it will come out of the joints. When it comes out of the joints, you've got 55-degree air meeting with warm air. It could be 90 or 100 degrees outside. And when those two meet, what happens? Condensation. It starts sweating. All of a sudden you got water. I mean, it's literally raining under your house. It happens all the time. And if you'd have just had the ductwork properly taped and sealed before you insulate it, you wouldn't have had that trouble. So for a $5 roll of duct tape, that would have saved them about $3,300.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Texter. Appreciate the info. I hope that helped a little bit in understanding at least what was going on under there. Okay, here's another one we'll take. It says, John, I have a metal roof and a well-insulated home. Is there anything I can do to keep snow and ice from sticking to the roof? Not enough heat from the roof helps melt it, and it builds up when it builds up, and when it finally comes loose, it causes damage to the gutter. Is there anything like an oil or a sealer that I can put on it?
Now, you normally find this problem up in the northern America part, where you have ice dams and things like that. And up there, the way they keep that from happening is essentially having a heat tape along the edge of your roof, and it will melt the ice and snow to where it runs on down into your gutter or slides off. Now, I don't have a real good cure for that. What your situation tells me is you probably do not have a roof that's very steep, and it's accumulating on the bottom. And you don't have enough, you're well insulated, and you don't have enough heat loss to keep that metal to where it rapidly evaporates. So, I don't have a real good answer for that. Sometimes if your gutter's hung a little lower, the ice and snow wouldn't hit on the top of them and pull those away from the house. But it may not be practical to move those right now. So, you need to have a little bit of a heat source there, and to help melt that. So I just don't have a great way of telling you about that. So I'm gonna have to think on that one a little bit and get back with you.
Okay, thank you, Texter. Appreciate that. The Man's Record Service text line is open for you. Right now, one of them is being a little cantankerous, so if you will, just kind of lean toward the 731-410-7560. The other one is kind of working intermittently this morning for some reason. Phone line is working quite well, though. Let's go there, John.
All right. Good morning and welcome to Tricks of the Trade.
Hey, I just wanted to say the fella's got the snow accumulating.
Yeah.
My first thought was that heat tape, like you said.
Yeah.
Or get up on some car wax and just wax your roof.
Well, that would work, but sometimes that's a little hard to do.
Hey, my satellite dish is mounted up on my roof.
Yeah.
It's snow would accumulate. I went out there with some rain X, sprayed it down with rain X,
Yeah.
and I haven't had an issue. And that's been it's been a good while back, and I haven't had an issue with snow accumulating on my satellite dish. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like on your roof. Spraying rain X all over it might look kind of, as you say, tacky. But one thing, we don't have enough snow to worry too much.
Yeah.
And several years ago, had a new roof put on, and they had to put that, we call it soffit board behind the gutter.
Right.
Went ahead and had all that replaced because several of them were rotted. They went back with treated. And I don't know what they say about treated and aluminum gutters, but I haven't had an issue yet. But they went back, and I asked them to put extra screws in that thing. And they did, and, snows we've had, a little ice we've had, I haven't had any issues with gutter problems. The thing is, these people hang these gutters, they go up there with these little number 8 screws, every several feet. That ain't enough.
No. You remember back when we had spikes and ferrules to put gutters up?
Yeah. Them great. I
Yeah.
got some of them aluminum spikes.
Well, when you have a house that's existing and maybe you do get a little rot on your face of board, instead of having to tear all that out, sometimes if you just go back to the old-fashioned spikes and ferrules, you can get up there and support that gutter and hold it up there, and it does a great job, and it'll hold it up.
Yeah, you get up there with some big old aluminum spikes. And how did that not just bust those boards all to pieces? Now that I think about it.
Well, sometimes you pre-drill them, but back in the day when you used all those, there wasn't that many face of boards. You were nailing onto the end of the rafters.
Gotcha. I see it.
And so that's why it didn't split so bad. But that's why we got away from spikes and ferrules, because when people started using enclosed soffits, and your face of board was like a 1x6 up there, and you were nailing into the top of it, you very quickly busted it out. But, if you cut the tip off of that spike and drove it in blunt, it wouldn't split. And but some of these young people don't know how to do that, so it splits it out. So everybody goes to screws, and supposedly these little brackets that you put up there now hold everything up. But when you get a gutter that's started to droop and it's full of water or full of ice and snow, it's not going to hold it.
Especially when you ain't been up there in 2 years to clean your gutters out.
Hey, that helps a whole lot.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
About clipping the nail heads, I remember Cleo McCollum, I think of 78, 79, he taught us that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to keep from busting the board, take your hammer and dull the tip of the nail, and boy, it works.
That's exactly right. That's the best way to. You can save a lot of fancy trim work by just cutting the end off your nail.
It won't work on oak, though. I've done figured that out.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oak's going to split it, yeah. Pilot hole works best.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks for calling this morning.
All right, John, we got to take our last commercial break. That's what it's telling me, and we'll find out whether that's right or not. And then we'll come back and wrap it up for this Saturday morning. With
Sounds
Tricks.
good.
John Allen with Tricks of the Trade. Be right back.
Talked to my doctor, and he said he would highly recommend that I go ahead and get a shot. It doesn't only help me, it helps my family around me and all the people I associate with. So you're not only helping yourself, you're helping your neighbors also. Well, I might have been a little bit hesitant to begin with, but after looking at all the statistics, and I don't see anything after you take the shot, everybody seems to get along with it pretty good. So you have a spot, take your shot.
Hi, I'm Allie. At age 2, my parents knew that there was something different about me. They were told that my life would not be typical. But Autism Society of America was there to help through all of my journeys. Help make a difference and make a donation. Go to autismsociety.org.
Looking for an easy way to compare bids from contractors you can trust? Search bbb.org for the type of work you need, then request a quote. Just click Get Quotes. You'll soon receive estimates from BBB-accredited businesses. Businesses which meet BBB standards of trust. Peace of mind is just one search away. BBB. Start with trust.
This is Arkansas, and so is this. And this. It's a place where your adventures can lead to wonders thousands of feet below ground, or to views high above it all. Arkansas is full of things you've never seen, and things worth seeing again and again. So if you're looking for a place to create legendary stories, or just make lasting moments, it's all right here. This is Arkansas. This is the natural state.
Welcome back to Tricks of the Trade. I'm John Allen. We got just a little while longer. What we got on the text line over, Jim?
Nothing. I beg your pardon. Let me get back to the one that's actually working with us right this morning. It says, word to the wise, sheetrock screws are not wood screws.
That's right. They have absolutely zero tensile strength, which means they will break very easily. A little something I ran into the other day. The technology, I don't even try to keep up with it, and I'm very proud to be a dinosaur.
Yep.
But I had somebody the other day when they were telling me how they want their new bathroom remodeled, that I kind of looked at them for a minute before I remembered. And they asked me the other day, says, then I want a new exhaust fan.
There you go.
I said, well, okay, we'll get one to get the steam out here. He said, no, that's not why I want it. I want one that's Bluetooth. Do what? Apparently they have exhaust fans out now that are Bluetooth to where you can play your music through your exhaust fan. I got to check this out. Not sure I'm ready for this one, but we're going to give it a shot in this ever-changing world of nonsense.
And the beat goes on.
That's exactly right.
I'm telling you. Thank you, John. It's always a pleasure. We have a good time here. We're glad to have everybody with us this morning. Jimmy Leach, the investigator, is coming up next, followed by the Saturday Sports Roundup from 10 until noon with Coach Joe and the whole crew.